Now, there's quite a few things I should mention about Chapter 7, and the first becomes immediately apparent, is that right from the start, you'll be fighting essentially several mini-battles, all at different parts of the map. So you're basically fighting on several fronts at once. The one I should probably draw your attention to first is Shannan and Paddy's escape from the Yeed Shrine, because that yields an extremely important event. Now yes, Paddy, I'll explain a bit later, but she is Bridget's daughter, although she inherits items from her father rather than the mother. So in my case, she has Jew's items, which is kind of fitting since she's a thief too. Be sure to equip something that gives her good evasion. Now make sure she moves first, because Shannan has to be the one who initiates the conversation. Yes, we really want him to get his hands on this. Yes, of course. Now, it seems like that whole Isaac war might have been part of, corrupt Granville manipulation as well, and/or Lopsect influence. Don't know, but anyway, as you'll see here, though, Paddy is a complete fangirl of Shannan's. Yeah. Right, now, yes, you're reading that right. The Balmunk is essentially a physical Holsesi. So, before Shannan was kind of your average pre-promote Swordmaster. Now, he's essentially morphed into a physical Levin, which is why you have to do that conversation as soon as you possibly can. The problem is, though, as I'll get to later, that's kind of his only real use. Now, I'll have to interrupt talking about that, because now we have our second battlefield, the defense of Leinster. So we had Leif there, who, again, he inherits from his mother as opposed to the father. Nana, the troubadour, pretty much the same class as Ethelyn. And Finn, who has the exact same stats and items he did when he left in the first generation. Except if he was paired. If he was paired, then he'll lose all his items. Now, basically, I'll explain more about Nana and Leif in more detail when I get the chance, but basically, they just need to hold out against a relatively small army of armors. Really, the mage is the only one that's a threat. Until Celice's army arrives, which, I'm not going to kid you, will be a long time. Now, it's probably best to go out and save some villages early, because those bandits are kind of good experience for Leif. Because, yes, Leif's class is Prince, and you may think that's kind of similar to Lachesis being a princess, and yes, Leif is essentially Lachesis, with one major difference. He's better. Yes, Boldo and Nopa, I think, are a really amazing growth combination. The problem is he lacks Pursuit in his initial class, which is why I passed him down the Pursuit ring. Then again, yes, like I said, Leif has significantly better growths than Lachesis did. He does have one slight problem, though. Unlike Lachesis, he can't use Staves in his unpromoted class, which means it's a little harder to train him. Like, you know, you can't staff spam for experience. Which is actually pretty annoying. That's why it's a good idea to pass him down either the Elite or the Pursuit rings. Just so he, you know, can actually reliably kill stuff and get experience. He does have critical and continue, though, which is always nice. And now here, the third battlefield, our main party, who'll basically just be making their way slowly, and I emphasize slowly, to the Yeed Shrine. Yes, of course, we're going to make a little detour in getting to Leinster. And now sending Fee out reminded me, it is actually possible to send her across the sea to help out Leaf. I actually did that in my first playthrough. And, well, I won't be doing it here, so I should probably say, I also, when I first did this, sent her over and had a bit of fun with her Berserk Sword. You know, using it on those column of armors attacking Leaf. Because it's kind of funny to see them all start killing each other abruptly. Now, anyway, there's another optional conversation you can do here. You know, another training one that just gives a couple of stat boosts. Well, lots of very, very useful stat boosts, actually. It kind of mirrors the, Quan Leaf conversation back in Chapter 1. Now, here's where I should probably say, okay, the other thing about this chapter. Chapter 6 was pretty simple. Your characters could pretty much handle everything, and it was mostly there as kind of a breather just to get you used to the second generation characters. Not so with this chapter. This chapter is kind of like the game giving you a wake-up call, saying, okay, you had it easy then, from now on things aren't going to be that simple. Basically, here, if you rush into things, you will lose someone. So you're out of that kind of safe zone, here's where the difficulty picks up again. The main reason for this is these Lop Mages. They, in fact, are capable of, and I can actually safely say, they can two-shot every character in your army. Yes, really, so try and stay out of their way unless you can reliably kill them as fast as possible. And if you let one character get attacked by two of them at once, they're dead. So yes, rushing into things, not a good idea here. You need to actually plan out and think strategically, and probably save a lot. Because yes, you've got two of them quite close together there, which is bad. Because if they gang up on one person, like I said, they will die. Anyway, with that out of the way, I can probably focus on just talking about, well, eventually the new characters you've got here, and just some more basic stuff. Yeah, they hit very often, and they will kill anybody in 2 hits. Okay, that's really bad. Really bad. I need to heal him as soon as possible. See what I told you about this chapter being harder than the last one? That's a serious understatement. Okay, I was kind of freaking out here because I just realized that I left him kind of stranded and my healers can't get to him. So I'll have to hit him with that Psychic Staff, and I'm really surprised Arthur had 100% hit. Because in this game, yes, Dark and Light have Weapon Triangle advantage over everything else. Right, now hopefully I can block them from getting down there. No, that's probably not a good idea, because while I might kill one of them, the second one will definitely kill him. Lester has this annoying tendency of, for some reason, he dies to Lop Mages very, very, very frequently. Probably part of the whole gang up on the Archer strategy the AI likes using. Now, hopefully, I'll present them with so many targets, they won't focus on just one person. Yeah, I'm being a bit too reckless here, but I'm just kind of anxious to get the chapter started. Later on, though, we just really do not want to be reckless, because you don't want to mess with these Lop Mages. they are an enormous step up from what you were fighting in Chapter 6. Anyway, also always look for opportunities for Julia to heal someone, because she needs the experience. Now, back here, you have to make sure that the Lop Mages can never attack Patty, because she will die in one hit. She also dies in one hit to the Swordsman. Yeah, she's pretty much just like Dew, except problem is she starts out in a really dangerous situation, and doesn't have axe users to leech experience off. She's instead got people who will kill her instantly. See, now, if you can get off a few cheap shots using a magic sword on Patty, it's a good idea. Now, you might notice I actually passed her down a return ring. That is, if the situation gets really bad, you can just be cheap and walk her back to your base. Shannan can kind of handle things on his own here, but yeah, I will explain that a little bit later. He does have a couple of problems, though. Now, yes, Celice here has the light sword from Ethelyn, but probably best to attack with the slim one, because... well, at least he activated continue. Right, now... great. Okay, this is not good. Now, it's in situations like these that... This is the reason why I leveled up Finn before, so he can act as what I like to call a kind of pseudo-Jigen to Leaf. You really do need him for that role here. Just be careful, because I think I kind of overtrained him a bit, and kind of... He ends up one-shotting everything, basically. Which is not really what I intended, but anyway, that's why I'm equipping him with the Iron Lance, because I don't want him to just go berserk and kill everything, because Leaf needs the experience. Right, now, yes, this is not good. Against these guys, you always dread the enemy phase. Thankfully, one of them is a complete moron. You will see why in a few seconds. Yeah, he did some damage to Lester, but now he's going to get lots of arrows in his head. It's a good idea, though, because that means, at least we've got one less enemy to deal with back in our turn. And Lester is certainly shaping up to be much better than Midale was. Oh, and if you're wondering, the reason why he's getting all that luck is because of Ulia Blood. That gives a boost to luck. See, finally, Ulia Blood is being used on someone who actually, well, at least the weapon rank is good use of it. Now, yes, Shannan has Astra as well. And if he activates Astra, pretty much anything is going to die. The problem is, look closely at the enemy's hit percentages. Yes, they can hit him. That's actually quite a problem. You might need to reset a few times here, because these Lot Mages, for example, they can actually hit you. It's not likely, but they can. And if they do, he will get two-shotted, which you don't want. Which is why these Lot Mages, even they sacrifice themselves just to risk hitting him. Because they know that if he gets hit once, he's got a good chance of dying later on. Then again, it is fun to see them get one-shotted by the Balmunk. So yes, Shannan is essentially a physical Levin, but he's not quite as good for one reason. The Balmunk is really the only thing that makes him useful, because his growths actually aren't all that good, particularly speed. His speed growth is surprisingly low for a Swordmaster. In fact, I always like to say that if you could somehow trade the Balmunk to one of Ira's kids, Shannan would be almost useless. But anyway, now this castle. Another random guy is just out for the bounty. We had a couple of people like that in Chapter 5, I think. course, his ambush kind of failed in the fact that the player can hear everything he's saying, so you know you're going to get ambushed by this guy eventually. But this castle has a more important role to play, and that is these two characters. Sworn enemy of his father. This guy certainly reminds you of someone in particular. In fact, he looks almost exactly like his father. His father and Sigurd were both knights, so it's kind of obvious who this guy is. But I won't quite mention that until a bit later. This girl, on the other hand, mentions being a dancer. Her name is Lynn, or sometimes referred to as Lean, to avoid confusing her with one of the protagonists of Fire Emblem 7. Yes, now that is Sylvia's daughter. Now, we'll be seeing what she can do a bit later, but the bandits actually like ignoring attacking in favour of destroying villages, which is good. And this theme, this is like one of the most out-of-place things in the whole game.